Hello everybody and welcome to my channel, Yard number 401. I'm your host, Lucas Sadlowski, and today we're going to be playing through Titanic Honor and Glory Demo 401. I really can't tell you as to how excited I am to play this sort of demo. From what I understand about this particular demo is that this is by far the largest demo that the developers Vintage Digital Revival has ever released to the public to date. And to the best of my recollection, I believe that you can explore about 25% of the Titanic's interiors. And I think from as far as I could tell, only the first class areas are only available to explore. But then again, I could be wrong about that. Maybe there's a little bit more to it. At any rate, without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and jump right into the demo. And I just started up this game over here, and as the notice clearly states, the following demo is the culmination of years of incredible work by the THG team and generous support from our fans. While it was these very visuals that first put our project in the public eye, this demo does not reflect the final visuals or gameplay for the full version of Titanic Honor and Glory. Please keep in mind the development of this demo began as early as 2014, and with Titanic research constantly evolving, you may stumble upon minor historical inaccuracies. We are aware of these. The full version of THG will take recent discoveries into account. As always, if you enjoy this free demo and wish to support our reconstruction of the most iconic ship ever built, consider donating through our website or joining the THG Patreon. Alright, so let's go ahead and click through. And, music is a little bit loud. Let me just see if I can fine-tune this just a little bit. Okay. Alright. Now, alright, now let's go over and explore the legendary RMS Titanic. Alright, let's do this. Explorer 401. Now, as you can see here, only the day option is available, and if you hover over the nighttime feature, it says soon, which means it has yet to be implemented into the demo. Now, for the purposes of going through this demo, I will try to be kind of like a bit of a tour guide and sort of take you through those areas of the ship and try to interject a little bit of historical content into these areas as much as I possibly can right off the top of my head. So let's just go ahead and get right to it. So as you can see, second class and third class are not available to start off. So only you could start off in the first class area. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Let's begin. Oh, that's nice. That's a really nice screenshot of this. It kind of reminds me of one of the iconic photographs that you would see of the first class staircase. But anyway, as you can see here, this is where we start off. Okay, so it feels a little bit slow as far as the mouse controls, so let me just see if I could... okay, and it appears as though I can't appear to be moving. Okay, that's a bit of a problem. So do I have to use the arrow keys? Hang on. Okay, so apparently I'm gonna need to make a few more adjustments. Sorry about that. Let me just go ahead and see if I could fix this up. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, let's see if this works. Alright. Okay, so it looks like it does. So let me just try moving around. Okay. Alright, looking good, looking good, looking good. Okay, now... feels a little bit laggy a little bit. Let me see if I can, adjust the screen resolution a little bit and see if that makes a difference. Okay, so apparently VSync does appear to make a difference, so I'm just gonna go with that. So obviously you can move forward and backward, side to side, and apparently you can't jump. But you could definitely run, so that's definitely a nice improvement. And it looks like, oh, you could crouch. Nice. Awesome. Okay, so it kind of feels a little bit too slow for the mouse sensitivity, so let me just fine-tune it a little bit more. Go back, and resume. Whoa, okay, a little bit too quick. Alright, let's see if we could fine-tune this even more. We'll just do this and stick with that. Okay. Alright, so here we are. This is where we start off. Obviously, we are aboard the legendary RMS Titanic. And right off the bat, I can definitely tell that this is the first class entrance, right on D deck, from as far as I can recall. And as you can see, this is where you would enter if you were to be a first class passenger. And oh, that's really interesting. Wow, I didn't realize that there were actually steps for you to walk down from as you go through that door. Huh. That's really quite unique. Okay, so let's just go ahead and take a look around. And let's see here. Oh. Oh my god, this is just incredible. So this would be the first thing that you would see. We're right in the foyer area. To put it more accurately, this is the reception room surrounding the landing area of the first class forward grand staircase. Oh god, look at the colors. Oh my god, this is so beautiful. Wow. And here's that, the lovely candelabra. I believe there were 27 lights for that particular candelabra. Oh my god. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. Here are the first class elevators that the first class passengers would have been using. From as far as I could recall, I know there was a total of 4 elevator lifts all throughout the Titanic. I believe that the 4th one was reserved for second class passengers, and then you see the remainder of these 3 for the first class passengers. Now, these elevator lifts can go up as high as A deck, and you could go as low as E deck, I believe. This is probably the best way for you to work your way up and down if you really don't feel like taking the stairs. Then you see here, you can see the bench, and it looks like some coat hooks. And you could see more of these entrances to these shell deck doors. This is quite lovely. Now, I wonder if we could open up this door. Oh, we can. Yes. All right. Now, this area, the reception room, this is where you tend to gather and congregate before and after meals. Apparently, this room was so popular aboard Titanic's sister ship, the Olympic, during its maiden voyage. In fact, it got to be so overcrowded with first-class passengers that some of the passengers actually took to sitting on the actual stairs of the grand staircase itself, which, considering the Edwardian customs at the time, it was considered to be a bit of a big no-no. So White Star Line and Harland & Wolff had sought to expand the reception room to the full width of the ship, which I believe was about 92 feet wide. So this is a really big, spacious area. It's also really popular in terms of being kind of like a bit of a casual, informal type of setting, because otherwise, if this room were to not exist, then it's far more likely that the first class lounge located topside would have been far more populated. So if we can work our way towards aft and open these doors, and greeted right before you would be the first class dining saloon. Man, this is so incredible. It's really kind of hard to believe that you're actually on board a ship. It kind of feels a bit more like of a hotel to me. Oh, God. Oh, this is so beautiful. Can we get a little bit closer? Wow. Oh my God. I mean, how could you really not appreciate this? Oh, man. I'm sorry if I'm not really saying as much. I'm just like trying to like take it all in. It's just, oh, this is quite wonderful. I believe that in the previous demo, it was demo 3, you really could not venture this far into the dining saloon, and now you actually can. Oh my God. Yeah, so this is definitely the place to be. Of course, as you could probably tell, if you remember and notice one detail in between this setting and what you would see in the James Cameron movie, you would notice that that these tables do not have table lamps. That is certainly considered to be a historical inaccuracy in the movie version. Although I can understand why they would want to include table lamps. It's just to help to give some better lighting for the actors who are sitting down and as they were shooting the scene. But yeah, this is what you would expect to see. No table lamps. You would see all these menu cards. I wonder if I could get a little bit closer. Oh. Okay. And I think it's just about as close as you could possibly get. This is what it would look like if you were to be sitting down like this. Although maybe your eye level would be a little bit higher in real life. But anyway. Man, talk about luxury. Alright, let's go ahead and move on. And work our way aft. I wonder if these areas are accessible. Can we open up these doors? Let's see here. Nope. Apparently you can't go through them. I believe that further beyond those doors and beyond these walls would be the galleyways, which is the nautical equivalent to having a kitchen. Those kitchens are shared by the first class dining saloon as well as the second class dining saloon. So let's just go ahead and get ourselves out of here. Okay. Apparently doors do not open that way. Or maybe they do open the other way. Maybe it's just the animation that's not incorporated into this demo. Anyway, let's just see if we can work our way up the staircase. Okay, so now we come upon C deck, and as you can see right in this area, this is something that was formerly known as the inquiry office. Other times it's referred to as the purser's office. Although if you were to look on the deck plans of Titanic, you would notice that this area right here would be the purser's office. If you were to come up over here, this would act a lot like the main desk of a large lobby of a very large hotel, and it's here that that you can store away your valuables, gold, jewelry, valuable possessions. You can even like write down a telegram, what messages that you want to be sent, and they would take those messages and put them in canisters, which they would place right in the pneumatic tubes, which you could see right in front of us in that corner over there. And from there, it would actually go up through these tubes, and it would go up into the Marconi wireless room, which we will get to in just a moment. But let's just take a quick look around and see what C deck has to offer. Now, I think this corridor leads to some of the first-class cabins over here, or maybe they could be linen closets for all I know. Just something to keep in mind, I am not that familiar with the ship's layout, like 100%. So unless there's like any signage over here indicating otherwise, I'm just going off by like guesswork. So do please feel free to take that with a grain of salt. And let's see here. Looks like I've got a sign. It says, "Smoking in the companionways is strictly forbidden." Yeah, so apparently you really could not smoke in these areas over here, primarily for just two reasons. One, it was basically out of courtesy. There were definitely enough non-smokers back in 1912 for which you just simply cannot smoke in these areas. And especially for these first-class cabins, the walls and the bulkheads surrounding those cabins, they were not made to be airtight. So the smoke will eventually drift through these adjacent cabins, and that could really make things much rather difficult if the smell got to be too obnoxious and they would much rather complain about it. The second reason would be for safety. There is actually enough flammable materials, and there's always a risk of having fire out at sea. So it is actually strictly prohibited from smoking in these areas. If you want to go and have a cigarette or smoke a cigar, then you would have to do that within the smoking room, because that's what it is actually there for. It is designed so that first-class passengers can smoke. And let's see, we'll be making our way through this corridor over here. Wow. And let's see if we can run our way through. And it looks like that this is the Aft Staircase. This is not necessarily the Grand Staircase, as people would often associate with Titanic. There were actually two staircases that were accessible for first-class passengers. There was one that was located on the forward part of the ship, and the other located in the aft part of the ship, which is where we're at right now. And the one that most people often refer to as the Grand Staircase, that is the forward first-class staircase. And we'll just work our way down here. And so this is to the surgery area. And can we open the door? Oh, we can. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is kind of new to me. Let's work our way down here. So, I am kind of familiar with this area a little bit. This one is a padded room. Now, I remember watching a video on the Titanic channel, and it was Bill Sauter who had talked about this particular room. And for those of you who are not aware as far as what a padded room is, this room was mainly used for confinement of people who were not of a particularly sound mind, to put it that way. If you're going to be carrying millions of people across the Atlantic, as a crew member, you have to be prepared for anything, especially people who are living on the fringes of sanity. From as far as I've learned, the padded room was not necessarily a means of first resort. It was actually considered to be a last means of resort if the passenger happens to be extremely difficult to work with, or if they're deemed to be clinically insane. Then there has to be consultation with the ship's doctor as well as with the ship's captain to determine as to whether or not the passenger would be so unruly that that they would have to be locked up within the padded room. From as far as I'm aware, Titanic's padded room was never used. But then again, if it was ever used, it would have been used much rather discreetly. Nobody has ever seen Titanic's padded room, and it will never be seen. This padded room happens to be located in this section here, where it happened to be within this this area of where the ship broke apart. So what's left of it was most likely pulverized and strewn about all over the ocean floor, and I don't think anything has ever remained of it. So it's very interesting to take a look at this and see this as what it most likely would have looked like as it was back in 1912. Or at least from the best educated guess that we can come up with. Anyway, let's take a look around here, and see here. And this is to the bath. And these areas, I don't know where these areas actually go to. Those are kind of a bit of a mystery to me. Let's work our way there. And this down here. Basically, you would have to be prepared for anything. There can be instances for which passengers could get injured. Death aboard a voyage is certainly not unheard of, especially if someone has suffered from a heart attack or a stroke. You're definitely going to need to have a doctor on hand to report to these kinds of emergencies. Alright, let's go ahead and work our way back up. And can we get through these doors? Can we get through here? No? Okay, so that was interesting. Let's see here. We got more cabins here, cabins to the left, cabins to the right. Let's go ahead and run, make our way down the corridor. Here's a nice look at the porthole. Let's turn around. Wow. Oh, here's an open cabin. And here's a cabin heater there. And let's see what we got here. Now, I think right through that porthole is kind of very hard to tell. If you could see all the rigging right through that porthole right there, since we are on sea deck, beyond this bulkhead, you would have been able to see something that's called the forward well deck. Now, it is an open third-class area. This is where third-class passengers would be able to stroll along the open well deck to get some fresh air. And one deck higher and beyond the forward well deck is something that's called the forecastle deck. This is where you would see the forward mast and the anchor chains, the anchor crane, as well as the side anchors, the center anchor, up forward towards that end of the ship. And we've got a nice single bed here. And we got a bedside lamp over here. Ah, as I suspected. Now, these ones are something for which that they are called gimbal lamps. Apparently, you can actually take these lamps off of the wall and you can carry it around while it's still tethered to a cord, but you could set it down to flat surfaces, and the lamp itself, because it's on a gimbal, it will always point upward. So as you set the support base down on, like, let's say this desk over here, and if you want to read a book or write a letter or something like that, you can carry this lamp around with you within the confines of this cabin. And we got another bed over here. So it looks like to be a two-person bedroom here. And it looks like we got this this nice piece of furniture here. And you could set up your coats over here and perhaps maybe your hats. Nice. Very nice. Alright, let's go ahead and move on out of this cabin. And let's make our way down through the corridor. And let's just continue working our way up. Now, I'm going to skip through this a little bit and really just kind of like get up to the very, very top of the ship. And by that, I want to get to the bridge area, but before we do, let's just take a look at this beauty over here. There's the money shot. And there it is. The Grand Staircase. You can even hear the clock ticking. Oh my god. And here's that lovely cherub over here. And as we come up to the clock, and here it is, Honor and Glory, Crowning Time. That is the name of this carving over here. And here's the wrought iron and glass dome. Beautiful. So, so beautiful. Now, sadly, as far as what's left of it at the wreck site, there's really actually not that much left. I do know that that the glass bead light fixtures in the ceilings, those are still there. I think there was even one that was dangling down by the wire. Other than that, the staircase itself, it's completely gone. Whether that got destroyed during the final plunge, during the sinking, or whether it just simply deteriorated away over the years, or whether it just simply collapsed in on itself, I think that's still debated. Sadly, nothing remains of this luxurious grand staircase, and it is a beautiful work of art. And so here we are on the boat deck. And as we could see outside right through the window is one of the lifeboats. Very nice. Wow. Take a look at this. I'm just so completely engrossed in this. It just... I mean, like, I know that this is all, like, computer generated, but this is so photorealistic. This is insane. Oh, is that an open doorway? Can we go through? We can! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Now there's something you don't see every day. Oh my god. Wow. I can't believe this. This is so beautiful. Wow. Let's take a look over here. Whoa. Oh my god. It's very easy to not really get a sense of context as far as, you know, just how big this ship really is, but look at this. This is so massive. Can we go over it? We can. I wonder if we can get to the compass platform. Nope. No. Oh, boo. Come on. But still, wow. Absolutely wow. Oh my god. All of you guys at Vintage Digital Revival, this is just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. I mean, I understand that this is not the final version of what's to come, but still, look at this. There's just so much to take in right now. A little bit of a historical commentary with regards to this structure right in front of me. This is something that is that's called the compass platform, and I believe that from as far as I can recall, this is where Quartermaster Alfred Oliver, he was standing on top of the compass platform over here, and from his recollection, he actually heard the three sharp gongs of the bell from the crow's nest located further up forward. And from that moment, he had walked his way down the stairs over here, and I believe that he had walked through this way, something like this, worked his way down the stairs, and he essentially walked all along the boat deck here and made up his way towards the bridge. As he got up to the bridge area, he saw the iceberg gliding over Murdoch's shoulders from his perspective, and saw the iceberg went by all along the starboard side. His testimony is actually very crucial as far as the events leading up to the collision. I believe that from the moment he heard the bells, and from the moment he had walked his way down from the compass platform, and the amount of time for him to take to get him up to the navigating bridge area, just by way of speed walking, I believe it would have taken anywhere between 50 to 55 seconds just to cover that distance. And speaking of which, we're gonna work our way up to the bridge by way of going through either one of these corridors. And before we get up to the bridge, let's just take a look around here. And, oh, there it is. And as you can see, those are the three main motors that would be able to lift up these elevators just down below here. And that's what controls the elevator carts as far as having them go up and down. Now, this, I believe, is the motor for which air would be continuously be pumped through these pneumatic tubes, and through these pneumatic tubes, you would see that they would lead from the inquiry office. Let's see. So, I believe those pipes stop at that corner and they drop down below, and this is directly connected to the purser's office, or the inquiry office, and you could send and receive telegrams by way of sending those canisters through those pipes. And we'll just walk along here, and those pipes will lead right around this corner. And I think that's the pipe connected to it. So we can go a little bit further and open the door. And we come around this corner, and we could see right at this door, we have, ta-da! The Marconi wireless radio room. And as you can see here, these pneumatic tubes would feed right to that basket right here. From this plaque over here, MGY, that is the call sign for Titanic. So anytime that you would read the actual Marconi messages, if you ever see these letters MGY, that's basically referring to Titanic. Other ships of the era, they all had their call signs. Oh my god. This is just incredible. And here, this is where you tap out those Morse keys to send messages. And you can see all the other pieces of gear associated with it. I think this switch over here, I believe it controls the voltage and the power of sending out the signals. I really don't know too much about the Marconi wireless system and all the pieces of equipment that are associated with it. But man, it is so cool just like looking at these things. And then there's the communication chart. Wow. This is so cool. Nice. And this is the headset to listen to any incoming Morse code messages. Now, working in Titanic's wireless room, I believe there were two wireless operators. You have Chief Wireless Operator John Phillips, otherwise known as Jack, and the other was his assistant, Harold Bride. Of course, Phillips died during the sinking, but Harold Bride did survive. It's from his recollections did we get a full understanding as far as what ice warnings were received, which ice warnings did not make it to the bridge. But even that subject does have its own controversy. There are people saying like the captain has ignored ice warnings, and he was being complacent and reckless and that kind of stuff. Captain Smith only had received the messages that were directed to him. Anytime that you want to send out an ice warning that needs to be acknowledged by the captain, it requires a certain prefix, which I believe was MSG, which stood for Master Servicegram. And I believe that there were about half a dozen ice warnings that were known and acknowledged by Captain Smith, and thus he took note of this ice field that they were about to stumble upon. That's another subject that's best dedicated to another video at a different time. Let's see if we can close... Oh, whoops. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry about that. And then close the door. And this right here, this is the silent room. I believe that's what it's called. Oh, so those switches control the voltage. Okay, alright, got it, got it. So, bit of a goof up on my part, but hey, you definitely learned something new. Engineer's chart. Can I get a little bit closer to this? Wow. This is like so exquisitely detailed. Now, I believe this wire would feed straight up to the aerials, which are hung in between the two masts of the ship. And what's really interesting is that the one potential disaster that could have happened but didn't was that the radio had actually had broken down during Titanic's maiden voyage. I don't know exactly what was wrong with the piece of equipment, but apparently company policies dictated that the wireless operators should leave the components alone, switch over to the emergency backup generator, which only offers a limited range, limited radius, but you would still have a wireless system to work with. Jack Phillips, being kind of like the young, arrogant go-getter, decided, no, I'm just going to try and fix this thing. He and Harold Bride spent pretty much all night in this room trying to go through these devices and isolate the problem. They go through these pieces one by one. I believe it took about like 6 hours just to fix. Once they finally did locate the problem, they were able to fix it up with a quick and nice simple fix to it. The radio was back up and running. What's really interesting is that at the time that the Titanic would eventually strike the iceberg, the radio was back in full operation. So I guess that would potentially conjure up another hypothetical scenario for which, if the wireless operators did adhere to the company policies, being that of the Marconi company, then it's probably far more likely that the rescue ship Carpathia may not have picked up Titanic's distress calls. As such, the survivors would never have been picked up by the Carpathia. They just would have been left floating adrift throughout the seas. Anyway, I thought that's an interesting tidbit. Alright, let's go ahead and work our way to the bridge. Oh, this is a nice piece of detail. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with this, that brass plating right there, this is something that is called an expansion joint. Basically what that does is that expansion joints are essentially small slits that are cut into the superstructure, and as the ship moves through the water, the hull itself would be able to bend and flex, and that would be fine on its own. But here in the upper deck houses of the superstructure, it would also bend along with it. So these expansion joints are designed to relieve tensions along the superstructures, because without the expansion joints, you would have some major cracking issues, structural deficiencies that you don't want to appear on the upper parts of the decks. And Titanic had two expansion joints. This one is at the forward part of the superstructure, and the other one is located further aft. And let's just go ahead and work our way through. Now, we're coming through the officers' quarters. And here we could hear the hissing, the sound of the ventilation of those fiddly grates. And now we walk right into the enclosed wheelhouse of Titanic's bridge. Wow. This is just amazing. Let's see if we can walk out here. Oh, there's a ladder over here. Can we climb up it? No, No, we can't climb up. Okay. Wow. What a view.
To a kill.
Now, as you would probably notice, there's no sound effects as far as the sea lapping up against the steel hull. But then again, it is a demo. It is still a work in progress, so not everything will be included. And as you can see right here, this is the crow's nest. You see that that white cage-like structure right there. That's the crow's nest located on the forward mast. As you probably know, or for those of you who don't know, this is where lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee were stationed up there, and this is where they were located when they spotted the iceberg that was right in front of them. And down there, you could see the forecastle deck, and you could see right in the center that that white covering right there. That's the cover to the #1 cargo hatch. And down there is the forward well deck, which is what I've mentioned before. And again, it's a third-class open area. Now let's see if we can go over to these bridge wing cabs. Wow. That is such a cool view. I wonder if I could look aft. Not much to see in the way there. But by God, this is such an incredible view. So yeah, like I said, you have the enclosed wheelhouse over here, and over here is the open bridge area. And here you could see these telegraphs over here. Now, I think this outer telegraph would control the port side, no, starboard side reciprocating steam engine. And this one would control the port side reciprocating steam engine. Each of these engines would turn the side propellers, or as they were commonly referred to as wing screws. And as for the center propeller, that was propelled by the low pressure steam turbine. Now, it's kind of a bit of an odd combination to have like both old and new technologies as kind of like this part of this hybrid propulsion system. But the low-pressure steam turbine did have a function. It basically kind of acted as something more like like an afterburner. Of course, all steamships are fueled by coal, for which they are shoved into the furnaces, for which they boil the water that's converted into steam. The steam is funneled into the reciprocating engines. That turns the side propellers, giving it the major means of propulsion. And whatever steam is left over will be funneled right into the low-pressure steam turbine, for which, once it is engaged, it'll turn the center propeller. It was a very efficient type of system compared to what was in use at the time. I believe it was Lusitania and Mauretania. All of its engines were steam turbines. Now, you have to keep in mind that turbines were pretty much within in their infancy. There were still a number of kinks that had to be worked out. They were still under constant improvement, and I can understand as to why is it that that Harland and Wolff decided to keep the reciprocating steam engines and just kind of like have the turbine as kind of like an afterburner. Once you have any steam that is left over from the turbine, you can get the steam through a series of condensers and turn it back into water, and you can feed the water back into the boilers via a closed system. Hence the reason why this makes the whole system to be fuel efficient. Wow. This area is probably right around where First Officer William Murdoch was standing at when the warning rang out from the crow's nest. It's possible that he might have spotted the berg at around the same time as the lookouts did, and I can only imagine standing from this vantage point, you would check to see your overall line of bearing and try to fully assess the situation that's unfolding right before you. And then, of course, Murdoch would have turned around, and then he would have given the order hard to starboard, which was something that was called a tiller command. Now, for those of you who are not fluent in the ways of the nautical world, if you ever seen like a rowboat, and if you ever seen like what the rudder actually looks like, if you see a handle that would control the rudder, that is something that's called a tiller. So if you want to make the ship go left or heading towards port, then you need to push the tiller over to the right, otherwise known as starboard. Hence the term hard to starboard, meaning turn the ship to port. Now, it may sound a bit confusing, but like anything else, the more you practice it, the more you get the hang of it. But yeah, this is where most of the action had taken place, as they were trying to take evasive maneuvers to get the ship to steer around the iceberg. Anyway, we've pretty much covered the bridge area. And can I go through? No, I can't go through. All right. So let's go back inside. And can I open this door? No. So I think this... let me just check my overall bearings. Yeah, so this door right here, I believe it connects to the chart room or to the pilot house. I don't know. I may have to go back to my deck plans and take a refresher on that. But this right here, this door... Oh, no, wait. This is to the chart room. Yeah, so this door would lead right into the chart room, and then there's a door connecting to the sitting room of Captain Smith's quarters. It was probably through this way, or maybe it could have been through this way here, that Captain Smith probably must have felt something, or would have sensed the different motions of the ship during the evasive maneuvers. And it was here that shortly after the berg had struck that he probably came through here, and that he asked, "What was that, Mr. Murdoch?" And to which Murdoch replied, "It was an iceberg, sir. I tried to hard port around it, but she was too close." And little did they know that that Titanic was mortally wounded from that collision. Let me just take a quick look outside over here, see if I can explore this here. And apparently I can't go beyond this area here. Okay, so let's just head on back inside. And we'll just speed along through here, come around. And let's just see if there's anything here. Okay, so those doors are completely inaccessible. But yeah, right around here, this is where the captain's quarters would have been located. Yeah, let's continue working our way back. And, of course, we're going back to the Grand Staircase. Now, if memory serves me right, this is... Yes, this is the door to the first-class gymnasium. Oh, and there are even time slots available. So from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. is for the ladies to use. The gentlemen would be from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. and it would be available for children from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. The gymnasium is under the responsibility of Mr. Thomas W. Macaulay, instructor. Let's take a look here. Oh, wow. So as you can see here, we got a bit of a punching bag over here. We got a clock over there. Oh, this is new. Kind of looks like a bench. Looks like something that that you could lie on. But still, I wonder what it would be used for. It's a very interesting detail. These ones are the exercising bicycles, and I think this display here, I think that you can measure as far as how much distance you have traveled, and I think you can also kind of make it a bit of a game out of it by way of racing each other. And I think it was right around here, or maybe if I could get this shot lined up. Now, it is basically right around this vantage point where second-class passenger Lawrence Beasley was actually using this bicycle on board the Titanic, as you can see from this photograph here. And here in that photo, you could clearly see second-class passenger Lawrence Beasley, along with a friend of his, that are trying out this the exercising bikes. It's always really cool to go to these locations of where those photographs have been taken. Now this one, well, obviously this one is a rowing machine, and this one, I don't know what it's actually used for, but this one looks like the electric camel, I believe, or the electric horse. I don't know. Anyway, this one right here looks like this machine is for lifting weights. At least that's what I'm guessing. Then again, I could be wrong about that. I wonder if those are the electric horses. Now, I really don't know what would be the purpose for these machines, if it actually really does anything. I don't know. I'll definitely have to look up on that. But yeah, this is the first-class gymnasium in all of its glory. And we take a look at these panels here. There's the map of the globe, as it would have looked like at that time. And we could see here, we could see the side profile of the ship itself. RMS Olympic and Titanic, the largest steamers in the world. And here's some of the cutaway cross-sections. super cool. Alright, let's, Can I go outside this way? Nope. Okay. What about through here? Nope. But yeah, one thing to point out over here, just right by the first class entrance to the Grand Staircase, it's probably right around here where Titanic's band had played their final hymns before the ship went down. And if the legend is true, this is where they had played the final hymn, Near My God to Thee. That story, as far as Titanic's musicians playing to the very end, it's definitely one of the most iconic stories that has ever persisted through the Titanic saga. I mean, what these guys had done, it's really courageous and very, very selfless. And as you can see over here, this is where all the lifeboats are located here. And there's an aft group of lifeboats located further down the deck over there. It's like you could just make it out right over there. And I believe these green machines right here, I believe that these are winches operated by a steam engine. And I think you would actually would run the ropes through these winches to retrieve the falls, which is what's connecting in between the davits and the lifeboat. And once your lifeboat is fully launched, you then unhook the falls, and you retrieve the falls by way of using this winch to bring them back up. And as you can see over here, Titanic was equipped with 20 lifeboats, which certainly exceeded the legal limit as imposed by the British Board of Trade for ships of this size. Now, what you have to keep in mind is that back in those days, lifeboat capacities were mainly centered around the ship's cubic capacity, not as to how many people you could possibly carry. And according to the regulations of 1894, any ship that was 10,000 gross registered tons and over was legally obligated to carry a minimum of at least 16 lifeboats. And as I've stated, Titanic carried 20, which was more than what the Board of Trade had required. While it can be easily determined that the lack of lifeboats was the major contributing factor as far as the loss of life during the sinking, and while it may sound like a good idea on paper to supply the ship with more lifeboats, basically the fact of the matter is that they only had just enough time in the real situation to launch all 20 lifeboats. So having additional lifeboats would have only had gotten in the way, and quite possibly it would have costed more lives. But then again, that's a subject dedicated to another video for another time. Anyway, let's continue exploring A deck over here, as otherwise known as the Promenade Deck. Let's see. What? No. No. It revolves. It turns. That is so cool. Oh my god. This is so awesome. Oh my god. That's totally worth it. Anyway, working our way further aft. Aha. So this door right here. Oh. Oh, that was a bit of a weird load-in. So this right here is the first class reading and writing room. This is where the first class ladies would tend to come here and socialize as a way to get away from their husbands, and basically discuss any topics that would have been common amongst the ladies to talk about back in those days. You can also read a book. You can write a letter on one of these desks over here if you're so inclined to do so. And it looks like there's a desk lamp right there. That's pretty handy. But yeah, like, look at all of the upholstered furniture and all of the colors. Man, it really certainly does aim to impress. And let's continue work our way further aft. And this right here is the first class lounge. So we're just located amidships on the uppermost deck. Now, you would notice that it's a bit more spacious, and you would notice that the ceiling is a little bit higher. That's what would explain the elevated roof portion up on the boat deck, which I don't know if you could really tell over here, but if you were to look a little bit closer, you see the steel rivets and the steel decking right there? That's the boat deck right there. So you see where the sun's rays are coming in right through that upper portion of that window? If you were to look right through that window, you would have been able to see the top of the boat deck. Oh my god. Wow, this is just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, this public space right here, it is for both men and women to congregate here and to socialize. And as you could probably tell from here, you could sit down at one of these tables and you could play card games and socialize and all that jazz. And this display case over here, that is essentially the library for first-class passengers. You could rent a book from this bookcase over here, as long as you check in with a steward or with a chief purser, and they would write down your name and what book you have rented out. And I think, to the best of my recollection, the crew would ask you not to leave books outside on the deck, because apparently that was a bit of a problem back in those days. Oh, hello. Wow. This is... It's one thing to hear about these public rooms and to research about these spaces over here, but having to actually walk around it, it just doesn't get any better than this. Alright, let's go ahead and continue our way through here. And here's another revolving door. Can we go through? Yes, we can. So, while we're on the subject of expansion joints, this is the second one, as you can see by the brass plating over here. Yeah, this is where it is located. now we come on over here. Oh, hang on. It's just a little bit lagging. And this is the Aft Grand Staircase. And comparatively speaking, not as grand as the forward staircase, but still very nice. Very nice to look at. And then we'll just take a look around over here. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first class smoking room. This is so cool. So here, it's just mainly men who would be smoking in this room. Now, I don't think it is actually White Star's policy to have it be exclusively be men. It's much more of one of those things for which society in 1912, it's not necessarily considered to be ladylike for a woman to be smoking a cigarette back in those days. People back in those days, they have a far more romanticized version as far as what a lady ought to be doing. Women don't spit, they don't curse, they don't drink beer, and women don't smoke. And I don't think that there is a penalty for women to be wandering around here as far as what White Star Line is concerned. There would be no penalty involved as far as the company side of things. It's just one of those societal boundaries for which you never dare cross. Because realize that once you do, you only get to do it once. Here's that fireplace here. This is so beautiful. If you're familiar with this, this is the area for which, as the legend goes, this is where Titanic's designer Thomas Andrews was reportedly last seen around this area, standing in front of that the marble mantle of the fireplace, staring at a painting hanging above it, which I believe this painting is Entrance to the New World, or Into the New World? Shoot, I'm spacing out on the title. But I believe it was painted by a guy by the name of Norm Wilkinson. I believe that's what his name is. But anyway, back to the story. Supposedly, this is the last sighting of Thomas Andrews, and I believe it was commonly attributed to a Veranda Cafe steward by the name of John Stewart, who supposedly saw Andrews in the first-class smoking room, almost as if looking in a daze, and apparently unresponsive to Stewart's request. Aren't you going to make a try for it, Mr. Andrews? However, if you've ever read the book On a Sea of Glass, apparently there's some testimonial evidence to suggest that Andrews may have moved on from the smoking room, and that it is perhaps far more likely that he was last seen in the bridge area along with Captain Smith, and that they were both seen jumping overboard into the water during the final plunge, which was very, very late into the sinking. Let's just go through here. And speaking of the Veranda Cafe, here we are. In all of its glory. Oh my god, look at the way the light is reflecting off of the leather. This is insane. Oh my god. Like, I actually work in the thrift store for which we actually do take in donated furniture, And oh my god, like, this is what you would expect for leather to be looking like when light is reflecting off of it. Like, that is a crazy amount of attention to detail. And we'll just walk outside on the Promenade Deck. And this is the Aft Mast right over here. And you can see where those 4 lines for which they're attached right at the top over there, those are the aerials. This is what would help send out and receive any incoming signals by way of Morse code. And if I remember correctly, if I could just position myself maybe right around here? Yeah, I think it was probably right around here where Father Brown actually took this photograph of a father and a son. The little boy was just was playing with a spinning top. You could see that replicated in one scene in the '97 James Cameron movie where Jack climbs up over the railing and then walks across the deck through here, and you see that little boy along with his father learning how to use the spinning top, that little toy. That is such a wonderful Easter egg, in my opinion. And then we'll just walk up over to here. And can we climb up on the ladder? No. Okay. And this over here, we're overlooking the aft well deck. And beyond that, over there is the poop deck, along with the docking bridge, where you could see the steering wheel over there and a couple of telegraphs over there. Or telemotors, as they were called. And then you could see it just right over there at the very end of the poop deck is one of the anchors over there. And then here's the cargo cranes. It's very weird to be around here with, like, no sound whatsoever. It's almost kind of eerie. And there's another cargo crane over here. And that, all along there, is the Promenade Deck. Which we really can't get to because of these pesky deck chairs. Grr. And this is also the veranda calf on the starboard side. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this section here can also double as a as kind of like a bit of a children's playground. Although then again, I could be wrong about that. All right, let's work our way back and go through here. Is there anything here? What about this one? Nope, can't open the door. Alright, let's work our way back. Push. Push. Oh, wow. There's just so much to see and explore over here. So, I believe that's all of boat deck and A deck covered so far. Now let's work our way down to B deck. Kind of lagging a little bit. But, wow. This is quite a view. And as we stroll through along here, and now we come upon this area known as the Café Parisienne. Oh, now there's some sound effects. And now this area here, as what it seems to imply, it was essentially modeled after a sidewalk cafe, or at least a typical sidewalk cafe along the streets of Paris. And it's here that you can enjoy the fresh air, the sea breeze, while you're sipping on your tea or coffee and munching on some finger foods and other snacks. And now, if we were to go through here, just across the corridor, we would get to see the lovely a la carte restaurant. Oh my god, this is such a beautiful room. There are a number of advantages of eating here at the a la carte restaurant. There's actually a bit of a difference in between here versus eating in the first-class dining saloon on D deck. Is that the food served in this restaurant, it's a few degrees higher in terms of quality. And I think you can just show up here in this a la carte restaurant at basically at any time you want. Whereas, comparatively speaking, in the first-class dining saloon, pretty much everything is regimented. Like, so regimented. In the first-class dining saloon, you really don't get to choose who you're going to be sitting next to. You have to show up at a predetermined time. And you don't necessarily get to pick which food you're going to eat. The menu that you see in the first-class dining saloon, that is something of what you would expect being served on that night. Whereas in the a la carte restaurants, it's very free-form. As a matter of fact, if you work with the head chef of the a la carte restaurant, you would get to customize your own menu. And you would basically get to show up anytime you want when you start to feel hungry. Whereas if you do show up at the first-class dining saloon at a regimented time, you may not feel hungry. And I think to the best of my recollection, in the while you're eating in the dining saloon, you would have to eat at least 1 or 2 bites for every course of the meals, so that way you would not appear to be rude in front of other passengers. Of course, if you're planning to eat here at the a la carte restaurant every day throughout the voyage, which you could, you definitely need to have a lot of disposable cash, because this does not come cheap. And naturally, this would produce some kind of a snobbery amongst the first-class passengers. But yeah, this is very, very nice. Alright, so let's just get out of here. And, oh, I wonder if there's some cabins all along B deck that we could possibly go to. Let's see here. B87, so I think it's on the port side, maybe? Well, let's just check to see if there's anything on the starboard side. Oh, nice. So, let's just take a look here. B51. Okay. This is definitely one of the 2 exclusive cabins aboard Titanic. These are by far the most expensive cabins that you could possibly book yourself in. These are referred to as the Parlor suites, and there's only 2 of them. Most oftentimes, they're commonly referred to as the millionaire suites, because, like I said, they're by far the most expensive cabins that you could purchase. Now, I really don't know the exact cost as far as booking passage in one of these cabins as far as 1912 currency, but I do know that that adjusting for inflation, purchasing a one-way ticket and booking yourself a cabin of this style aboard Titanic one way, it would have been the equivalent of at least $50,000 in today's money. More than $100,000 in today's money if it was round trip. And for that price, you get to have a sitting room, which is this one here, and you would get to have your own private bathroom, which was an extreme luxury at the time. It was a novelty. Private bathrooms are something that we are so accustomed to and that we often take for granted. But back in those days, it is very rare for ships like the Titanic to have private bathrooms. Everyone else, they had to share a common bathroom that is often located right down the hall. You had to go out of your cabin, walk down the hall, and walk over to either one of the public lavatories or one of the public bathrooms if you even want to take a bath. Along with these parlor suites, you would get to have your own enclosed promenade area. And I believe that these were 13 by 48 feet as far as the overall dimensions. And I wonder if we can open these doors. We can. So these doors right here, those are also first-class entrances that you could possibly use while the ship is tied up at a pier. And as you walk through here, this is what you would be greeted with. Now then, I wonder if we can access that cabin on the opposite side. Okay, apparently we cannot go through here. Alright, so this is the second parlor suite located on the opposite side of the ship, and it's at these cabins B-52, 54, and 56. This is where Joseph Bruce Ismay was booked during the maiden voyage of the Titanic. Now, originally, it was supposed to be occupied by American financier John Pierpont Morgan, or J.P. Morgan, as commonly well known. Now, J.P. Morgan, I don't think it was at the last minute, but he decided to cancel passage aboard the Titanic for a couple of reasons. I think it was probably like either health reasons or he was having trouble trying to get his art collection out of France to get them transferred to the United States. I could be wrong about that one. It's been a while since I've read up on that account. Anyway, J.P. Morgan, he was responsible for setting up a maritime trust fund, which was the International Mercantile Marine, that was a collection of subsidiary companies, White Star Line being included. Now, it is a common misconception that J.P. Morgan technically owned Titanic. Basically, White Star Line owns and operates the Titanic based on the amount of shareholdings that it has controlled. I know I've read up on an article as written by Mark Churnside that discusses the finances and the legal ownership of Titanic. From as much as I got the impression out of it, J.P. Morgan did not own the ship, from as far as I could tell. But I may have to take a refresher on that. Also, feel free to comment down below. So is that really all there is to it? Yeah, let's just see if we could speed through these cabins here. Yeah, so this is basically the first class areas. Now let's see if we could work our way down. And I think C deck we've already touched upon. Oh, what's this? Is there a sign for it? Ah, here we go. Maids and Valet's Saloon. So for the maids and the valets, this is where I suppose they would eat their meals while they're taking their breaks. Or while they're off duty. And I think it's right around here? Ah, there it is. The Barber Shop. Oh, this is so cool. So many new things to discover. I think while you're in here, this also acts as a gift shop. You can purchase souvenirs, so that way you could have something to show off while you're chatting with your friends once you get back home. It's very cool to see something like this. And again, this is just only a taste of what's to come when they finally fully release the official, fleshed-out version of the game. And I really cannot wait of what else they have in store. So, as you might have noticed, for some reason, even when I try to go straight, it seems to be wanting to keep going to the right. Now, I don't know if it's the overall configuration settings for my mouse. Let me see if I could try to fix it. Never mind. Guess I'll just have to put up with it. Okay, so we have already explored D deck quite a bit. There's the reception area. Now, let's just see if we can go down to E deck. And so we're at the very bottom part of the staircase. Let's see, key locker. Now, I wonder what it looks like when we look up. Wow. That is so unreal. Let's take a look over here. Yep, looks like some more cabins over here. And E-deck elevators. So this is something that is that's called the Watertight door deck plate. If you see that hole over here, I think in this little cupboard right there, this is where you would store the handle and a steel bar for which you would be able to turn and be able to close the watertight door manually, for which the watertight door would be located just down below, right underneath this deck here. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe, I don't know if it's here or if it's here, but it's right around this area where Margaret Brown, otherwise known as the unsinkable Molly Brown, this is where she was staying here. I believe it's at this cabin. I'm pretty sure it is. And I think just next door to her was Dorothy Gibson, who was a silent film actress. And from as far as I can remember about Dorothy Gibson, she actually starred in the very first movie made about the Titanic disaster. In fact, she even went as so far to recreate her whole experience that that she even wore exactly the same clothing on set as she did on the night of the sinking. Now, sadly, the film hasn't survived. It got burned up in a studio fire, I believe. So I think we only have still pictures of it as they were making the film, for which it gives an indication as to what it would have looked like. I believe that film came out shortly after the Titanic disaster in 1912. And here's the elevator shaft here. This is amazing. Can we go here? No. Alright, so let's go around here. And this one you cannot open. And apparently we cannot get through. But this door, it would lead you right into this very long corridor that would connect the bow and the stern section. This is an area that is known as Scotland Road. And this is a very easy passage for third-class passengers and crew members to traverse all along the length of the ship to get in between the bow and the stern section. So it looks like we cannot go through that area as of right now. I don't think it's available in this version of the game. Maybe it might be included within the next update, but then again, that's just me speculating on my part. Anyway, let's just go ahead and walk down here. Now we're down to F deck. And as you can see here, these are the Turkish baths. Turkish bath hours are as follows. Available for ladies from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Available for gentlemen from 2 to 7 p.m. Tickets being obtainable at the inquiry office, which is located up on C deck. And the swimming bath will be open for gentlemen from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and for ladies from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., and for ladies and gentlemen, respectively, during the day at the same hours as the Turkish bath, free of charge. So I guess the swimming pool is free to use, but in order to use the Turkish baths, you need to purchase a ticket for that. So let's just go walk in here. So this is the cooling room of the Turkish baths. You would notice this Arabian style and decor for the wall tiles and the paneling. This is just absolutely gorgeous. This is by far one of the best preserved areas at the Titanic wreck site. You could still see the wall tiles looking as much as you see right now. And from as far as I know, I believe there were 5 separate rooms that would make up the Turkish baths. Let's just see if we can go through them all. So where you've looked at room number 1, which is the cooling room. And these rooms here, I believe these are the shampooing rooms. And these right here, I believe those are steam rooms. And this is the hot room. And this right here is the electric bath. Hello there. And if I'm not mistaken, according to the developers, this character model right here is supposed to be J. Bruce Ismay, only without the mustache. So, this is something that's called the electric bath. It kind of looks like a bit like a tanning booth, but it's not really a tanning booth. Inside this cocoon, I believe there was a whole lot of electric light bulbs. I don't think that it really does anything except for warming up your skin. I do know that initially there were 2 of these on board Olympic when she came into service in June of 1911, but since they did not turn out to be as popular as they expected to be, there was just only 1 on board Titanic, as you can see here. Alright, let's go over here, and oh, you could walk through. I think initially in the first release you couldn't go through this opening because apparently there was an invisible wall over here. Going back to the watertight door deck plate, this is what it would have been connecting to all these gears over here, so you can close these sliding watertight doors manually. And that could be controlled from one deck above us. And from as far as I could tell from the deck plans, the Turkish baths are mainly concentrated on the starboard side. And just across this hallway, if we go through here, open the door, ta-da! The swimming pool. And here we have our cage showers over here. And this is our changing lockers. Then we go in here. Can we just take a moment to mention that the water effects are so good? Wonder what happens when we crouch. Oh, come on. Can I not go underwater? Oh, that's boring. Well, I guess you really can't get everything you want. But I'm sure that you would be able to see underwater as the updates do come along. But then again, I can only dream. Anyway, so that's the first class swimming pool. Now, obviously, Titanic was not the first ship in history to be installed with a swimming pool. I know it's kind of like a bit of a debatable subject. I believe there was like one other ship that was first installed with a swimming pool before Olympic and Titanic. I can't remember what the actual name of that ship was. As far as swimming pools are concerned, these were pretty much brand new. It's amazing as far as looking at the world of 1912 versus comparing to what we've got going on right now. Like, a lot has changed in more than 100 years. Alright, so that was F deck. Let's see, this is to the fan room. And we go through here to the bath attendants and assistant second stewards. Close press, second steward, bath attendants. Okay. So, is that really it? Huh. I thought there would be much more to it. Maybe I'm missing something. Let's just see if I can go maybe further this way? I wonder if there's another staircase over here on D deck? Yes, there is. Alright, now this is kind of like a little bit obscure, and it might seem a little bit puzzling as far as why this staircase is included. The purpose of these staircases, the reason why it looks so obscure to us is because that's how much society has changed. We don't necessarily live like that anymore. These concealed staircases here, sometimes you would have to think about Titanic as if it is a grand house or mansion that was built at the turn of the 20th century. Basically, for the servants and the stewards and the butlers and the maids working in the grand houses, it is very important to make sure that they remain invisible as they go about their duties. And here the same purpose is carried over in Titanic's layout. It is actually very important for these crew members to carry out their work and to do so discreetly, that it is actually better to have these staircases and to utilize them rather than having to use the Grand Staircase located further aft this way. And there are important things that need to be done. Linen needs to be changed out. Food and crockery needs to be redistributed. That's basically the whole purpose of these staircases here. Now if we go back here, and this is the observing platform of the squash court. Let's go down here. But yeah, there it is. So this is the squash court. Very nice. Oh my god, I just really cannot wait until the other areas of the ship get unlocked in the next update. So I wonder if we can go further down. Ah, here it is. Right here is the mail room. And this is where the mail clerks would be spending their time sorting out the mail, organizing the parcels, and I think this is a small elevator for which you can carry the sacks or transport the sacks up and down. And I believe there's a second level down? Yes. So this is also part of the mail room. Although technically further topside, going up a higher level, it's technically a post office. From as far as I can remember, this is one of the first areas to be quickly inundated with water. The 5 mail clerks were trying their best to haul up these bags of parcels and mail, trying to carry them up these stairs right here. And I can imagine as to how that would have been a challenge, just trying to save the mail for as much as they can. All 5 of these mail clerks did not survive. Now, I don't know if 2 of which were American and 3 were British, or if 2 were British and 3 were American. I don't know. That's the mailroom. And let's see if there's anything else we could explore. So I think we've already looked at the squash court. And let's just see if there's anything further down. Oh, there it is. So this looks like one of the cargo holds. I believe, from as far as I can remember, this looks like cargo hold number 2? Or is it number 3? I believe it's cargo hold number 2. We'll just go down the lower deck. Yeah, this is a pretty secluded space here. about it. Is that really all the spaces to it? Well, let me just do a quick walk around one more time, just to make sure that that nothing is untouched. And what's through here? Now this, I have no idea where that leads to. Again, not a complete expert on this subject. I'm just basically learning as I'm going along. So, if this was D deck here, then that would mean it would be E deck, and then down to F deck, going down to G deck. Oh. That was weird. So that's G deck here, which would mean that if we go down even further, this would make this the Orlop deck. And I think that's just about as much as we could possibly explore. Alright, let's just go back up top side. Or, let's just go back up to D deck. Okay, so that's pretty much all that we could possibly explore. Now, hopefully, there's going to be a part 2, a follow-up to this tour of the ship in Demo 401. And hopefully we would get to explore more of the second class areas and more of the third class areas, and possibly maybe take a trip down to the engine rooms in the bowels of the ship. Anyway, again, this is Titanic Honor and Glory Demo 401. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Leave a like, and feel free to subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more content such as this. Anyway, I hope that everybody enjoyed this video, and feel free to leave some feedback and provide me corrections as far as inaccuracies that I might have presented. Until next time, bon voyage. Bye-bye.